Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, says that Airbnb is to lead the real estate market crash. Let's review this article. Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki has warned that Airbnb will lead the incoming real estate market crash, noting that many people are worried that the Airbnb bust is finally here. And economists caution that it could get a lot worse between a looming recession and excessive savings are about to dry up. So let's talk about this. So I actually have been following Robert Kiyosaki since about 2015. That's actually when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And since 2015, he has been talking about there's going to be a real estate crash in the year 2016. He was so convinced that 2016 was the year. Why? Because on average, every 8 years, there is a market correction in real estate. And the longest run was 13 years, but the average is 8. And since we had a crash in 2008, he was convinced that it was going to happen again in 2016. And then when it didn't happen in 2016, he was convinced it was going to happen in 2017, and then 18, and then 19, and then 20, and then 2021, 22. We're in 2023, and he continues to say that there's going to be a crash every single year. And I think eventually he's going to be right, whether it's in 2025 or 2030. Eventually, he's going to be right. Now, just to clarify, I am a huge fan of Robert Kiyosaki. Like, I got his book right here. I got the cash flow game right here. I became a student and invested a lot of money into his real estate education in 2015, which is actually how I became a millionaire. I even worked for his company, and we were offer the educational seminars all over the country. The company, Rich Dad, would fly me around. So again, I just want to clarify, I am a huge fan. But this information is bogus, and it is completely inaccurate, and let me break down why. Before I do that, Airbnb to lead real estate market crash. If you want a new home, your happy days are around the corner. Same for rental property. The best time to get rich is in a crash. Good luck. And in the article, it states that Airbnb revenues are down 13%, and that's true on a global market. Some Airbnbs might be down more. Some Airbnbs in some of those secondary, tertiary, non-as desirable cities are probably down 15, 20, 25%. And then those properties that are in strong primary locations where there's large populations near downtowns, convention centers, theme parks, beaches, and these are great properties hosting larger groups of people with amenities, these properties are maybe only down 5%. Right? But the average is 13%, and that's true. My challenge with these types of articles is that they are clickbait, right? They just want to make this crazy statement to get you to click on it, to get you to read it, to get you to view, because that's how they generate more eyeballs, and that's how they sell these advertisements and get more and make more money overall. But the truth is, there is no Airbnb bust in every location. I agree, there are some areas who are struggling more than others. But if you select the right property with the right amenities in the right locations, and you're hosting the right amounts of people at the right nightly rates, and you have a good system, a good cleaning team, you might only be down 5%. So instead of making, like, most of my properties generate between 9 and 12,000 in revenue. So if you deduct even 5%, that's only like $500 to maybe $800 less than in 2022, which was one of the best years that we've ever had in Airbnb. So again, don't listen to these doom and gloom clickbait articles and videos that are, again, just trying to get eyeballs at the end of the day. So here are my thoughts on the real estate market. I personally don't believe that there's going to be a real estate crash. The reality is, in 2020, when the government lowered interest rates to practically zero, it forced so much of appreciation that we were supposed to have over a longer period of time. So I believe, based on data that I have gathered from experts who have been 99% correct over the last 40 years in regards to the residential real estate market, they're projecting that we're actually going to be in what they call a lost decade. So they believe that the rest of this decade, from now until 2030, they believe we are going to have a flat market, and that the appreciation, the increase in values that we were supposed to have now over the next 7 years was front loaded in 2020 to 2022 when the government lowered interest rates and created massive inflation and appreciation. As you guys may be aware right now, we have the highest interest rates that we've had in over 20 years. And I believe that if they keep interest rates where they're at, 7-8% for the next couple years, then I believe prices will remain as is. There will be almost no change. However, I believe that if they lower interest rates back down to 6%, 5%, we are going to experience another 20 to 2022 where prices drastically increase from the levels that we are right now, mainly because of supply and demand. 80% of mortgages in the US right now have a 3 to 4% 30-year fix, with the vast majority of those being closer to the 3%. So people would have to be crazy to sell their home with these low interest rates and low mortgage payments, keeping their costs down, keeping their debt to income ratios down. Why would you go and sell your 3% mortgage, sell that property, and buy at the same price but at a 7-8% just to double your payment from $3,000 to $6,000? That doesn't make sense. So I believe that, again, if interest rates remain for the next couple of years, prices will remain stable. It'll be flat. But if they lower interest rates, or should I say what I believe, when they lower interest rates, whether it's in a year or 2 or 3, I believe prices will shoot through the roof. I'd love to hear your comments. What do you guys believe is going to happen over the next couple of years with interest rates and prices? Please let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys like this video. As always, I appreciate you. Check out one of my other videos here, and I'll see you guys on the next one.